I got to get to those 5 key Vols and 5 key Crimson Tide players. And when Caleb Calhoun rings out one of these players, I'm going to say one of 2 things. Hey now. He'll have a big game, or that's crazy, he won't have a big game. So let's take a look at those Vols, the 5 key Vols in the Tennessee-Alabama game. Roll them out for me. Start with number 5. Let's work our way down, Caleb, and it is brought to you by AndyMasonRealEstate.com. AndyMasonRealEstate.com, real estate experts with over 4 decades combined experience in East Tennessee. I love him. Best prices, best service in the biz. Support our sponsors. That's why we're here. And if you've got any real estate sort of inclination, Andy's not going to try to push something down your throat. I had that happen to me before one time with a realtor. Andy's just going to say, hey, do you like this house? Here's the best we can do with it. We can take care of this. We can take care of you. My name's Andy Mason. I'll take care of you. AndyMasonRealEstate.com. He is simply awesome. All right. 5 Vols. Do you want to start with the Vols or the Crimson Tide there, young man?
Let's go ahead and start with the Vols since you named them first.
Okay, let's start with the Vols. I'm excited. I'm going to tell you, hey now, he has a great game, or that's crazy. This might be a little bit much at Bryant Denny. All right, what do you got? Number 5.
All right, and you guys can read both of these online right now. I've got them both up on the site for the Vols and the Crimson Tide.
He gets up at like 3:45, guys. Read the site, and if you don't, you're crazy. By the way, you can order autographed copies by Fred White of the book Celebrate 98. We're going to have Billy Ratliff on there. We're going to have more players on there, autographed copies now, and you can have those as keepsakes for the holidays. I don't have a lot of those autographed by players, so I'm just going to go ahead and tell you, order them now for the holidays. And Fred White's a great man. All right, number 5, roll it out there.
Number 5 is Elijah Herring, and this is because Jalen Milroe this is the first dual threat quarterback Tennessee has faced all year. We know about what Aaron Beasley does as a playmaker at outside linebacker, but the middle linebacker is going to be key to maintaining what you call gap integrity from the front 7. That's key for the middle linebackers, and he's got to make sure he knows when to stay in spy, when to rush, when to drop in coverage. It's key for Elijah Herring to make the right. He's gotten better each week. He's got to be even better this week.
Yeah, and there's a good chance he might be the spy on Jalen Milroe at times, and you cannot let him. And Tennessee, it seemed like faced that every week last year from Jaden Daniels on, a mobile quarterback that could beat you with his legs. But you've got to make sure that Jalen Milroe doesn't beat you with his legs, or it's going to be a long game. So that's a great pick, Hank. Hey now. Oh, yeah, it is. All right, number 4.
Number 4, we've been talking about him all morning already. Jalen Wright, not much else to say.
Hey now. Number 3. Great pick.
Number 3. Now, he may not have a great game, but he's a key player, Joe Milton.
Well, he's got to be a key player, but I think it's evident last week against Texas A&M, he can play poorly and Tennessee can still win. So I'll give you that's crazy. He could still play very average and Tennessee could win, but you're looking at me You're looking at me with a disagreement glare.
You said poorly, then you said average. Those are different things, Dave.
Oh, okay, true.
So he played poorly last week. Okay, for instance, against Florida in 98, T. Martin played average. Not poorly, he played average. Joe Milton played poorly last week. He has to at least play average, and it's Alabama on the road. It's not Texas A&M at home.
Okay, can he throw out the same stat line, which, 11 of 22 for 100 yards or something? What was the stat line? Can he
That's
do that
exactly it.
Against Alabama and still win?
He can if he has no interceptions and he ran for another 100 yards.
Okay, I can roll with that. All right, who else you got as far as key Vols in this game versus the Tide?
All right, number 2, and this is a big one, Wesley Walker. And I want to break down why real quick. Dave, did you know that Alabama, they're not good on 10-yard routes. They're not good on 20-yard routes. Jalen Milroe was not that accurate. Did you know they're the best team in the country on deep balls this year, though?
Did not know that.
Yes, they are 5th in the nation right now in passes of 40 yards or more. 5th, and they don't even throw that much. Their identity is lull you to sleep with Jalen Milroe's mobility and their run game, and then Milroe hits you over the top for a deep ball. It's very much Remember Tim Tebow in the NFL where he lulled you to sleep running the ball all the time, and then he always like in the fourth quarter would throw like a 40-yard pass downfield and get you each time? That 1 year with Denver, that's very much Alabama this year.
Nope, I got you with that. So who's number
Wait, is that
one?
a Hank? You're not even going to Hank or Tracy me on that one?
No, I'll give you no, I think that's an easy Hank Kingsley. I think that's a huge one.
Wesley Walker's huge. Yeah. So then lastly, the most important player, and this goes with the deep ball, stopping the run, and just everything in between, James Pierce Jr., the superstar of Tennessee right now.
Absolutely. And can I throw Byron Young in there as well? One of the
Byron
guys.
Young. You mean Amari Thomas or Tyler?
Yeah, throw Amari Thomas in there as well.
Well, Byron Young's not here anymore, or not.
Yeah, Byron Young isn't here. Tyler Barron, excuse me. One of those guys needs to create a strip sack, right? Right.
Yes, yes. Remember you were covering Tennessee in 2004 when they beat Alabama, when John Chavis challenged his defense to score a touchdown the week of the Alabama game, and then they got it like the second play of the game. That's something Tennessee needs this week.
No, and Tyler Barron isn't as good as James Pierce, but remember this: he's probably helped by James Pierce. And yes, I meant Tyler Barron. My apologies, but he is a guy that I believe that Tennessee, if that's your second best pass rusher, it's a sign that the entire roster has gotten considerably better. So, how about those 5 Crimson Tide players that could have a big impact?
All right, so first is linebacker or edge rusher Chris Braswell. Now, Chris Braswell is no Will Anderson, but Tennessee doesn't have Darnell Wright. So, it's a drop off on both sides. And Alabama, as you know, Dave, Nick Saban, the jack position is huge for Alabama's success on defense. And so Chris Braswell is just there just in general because of that.
No, very true. Where do you think that Alabama, this might be a little bit surprising for you, but where do you think that Alabama ranks in terms of sacks per game? Have you had a chance to look that up yet? Do you already know it? If you know it, don't cheat.
I do not know it. Do you know where it is?
They're number 2 at 3.7 per game, but it's behind Texas A&M, which leads the conference at 4.1 sacks per game, and Tennessee did pretty well against them. All right, who else is key for the Crimson Tide?
All right, we're looking at even though Jace McClellan is Alabama's most productive player on offense, I'm going to go Jermaine Burton as the most important skill player for them to keep an eye on.
I love Jermaine Burton as a player, so I will give that a hey now. All right, good roll. All right, what do we got at number 3? Counting them down.
All right, number 3 is their strong safety, Caleb Downs, who leads the team in tackles, solo tackles, and interceptions. Joe Milton has thrown 4 interceptions in 3 SEC games. If Milton looked as bad as Caleb Downs is that guy.
All right, I'm gonna. Caleb Downs to me is a key player. I wouldn't have him in my top 5, but so I'm gonna go. That's crazy. But he's still very good and a key player. All right, who else you got? Number 2.
All right, number 2, their top playmaker on the team this year so far, Dallas Turner, leads the team with 9.5 tackles for a loss, 7 sacks already at linebacker. This dude is a weapon, and Tennessee has to account for him no matter what.
Yeah, you've absolutely got to you have to contain him. I mean, Tennessee, the way their offense is rolling right now, if you want to call it rolling, they have to make some plays. They have to be consistent, but this is not about gobbling up 50 yards at a time. This is about not giving up some big plays, because that could certainly flip the game and make it one-sided. So I'm with you on that. Hey now. And who's number 1?
And number 1 is very, very obvious, Jalen Milroe. And Tennessee and Alabama are actually identically matched in so many ways. The one difference is I think everybody in the world has more faith in Jalen Milroe right now than they do Joe Milton.
Yep. And Jalen Milroe, this has been kept pretty quiet, but he has had a bit of a hamstring issue. Now, this was a couple of weeks ago, but those things don't go away. I tell you what, if he's 80% of the runner that he usually is, that's big for the Vols, right? I mean, he doesn't have to be completely out of the game for him to be less of a factor in the running game. If he's 80%, then that changes the way this game plays out, right?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, like you said, he hasn't run the ball at all really the last 2 weeks. They've kept him in the pocket most of the time. If I think that plays right into Tim Banks' hands, and I think you agree that right. That is, he can't throw 10 to 20 yard routes. He can only throw the deep ball and run. And if he can't run, Tim Banks is going to have fun.